Welcome to the Loveland Report and Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve, Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate in Central Florida, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger.
That's me.
We're going to give you all your mortgage, all your real estate news today. Thank you for tuning in on this lovely spring day. And first quarter's over, Bruce. I'll have those numbers another month or so. And I think even with the war, because that spiked interest rates, I think
spiked interest rates, spiked gasoline, spiked a lot of things.
Yeah, I think
but we saw this week the market rallied a couple times too.
So this will pass, and I just think we're going to stay 2026, because even though rates jumped up to around 6.5, that's still better than most of last year.
Very much a point better than last year.
Yeah, so that's where you got to look at this market. And I've got some things here. I want to talk about why Florida's doing great, what will happen when the bombs stop. And then I want to talk about luxury home sales today. What do you got?
I want to talk about what's going on with interest rates. What can we expect right now? Where are the opportunities in the market? Because we've seen some people pull back on buying because of fear of what's going on in the market right now. But to be honest with you, with the amount of inventory we've got on the market, Cleve, this is the best opportunity that a buyer could ever ask for.
And I'm not seeing inventory grow. Like I'm going,
we're at what, 11,000 homes?
Yeah, we're like a 5-month supply. Yeah, and a five-month supply. But I'm not seeing it grow. And from a year ago, I'd sit down with my sellers and go, look around you. You're at 450. Here's everything from 400 to 475, depending on what part of town they're in. And I go over this with them every 2 or 3 weeks and say, all right, you didn't sell. We got good activity. These people did. And I'm seeing just less homes in that dome. I call it, because sometimes there's not enough sales in a subdivision to see what's going on. And people are like, well, neighbors aren't selling. There's nothing selling.
That's right.
But if you're listed for $499, I can find something for $499 within a couple miles of you that's sold.
Absolutely.
So, and the market is moving. It's not stagnant. So all these things going on in Florida.
Nope. We're having a pretty good month. Things are happening. I've got some refis that we're working on. I've got a lot of buyers. I got some out-of-state buyers buying here. I've got buyers here buying out of state. I'm lending in all 50 states and really having a great time doing it, helping some agents all over the country. So if you're interested in purchasing, maybe in North Carolina, maybe you want to buy a cabin, maybe you want to buy a beach condo, maybe there's just somewhere else or a family member that you'd like Cleve and I to help, just give us a call. You can reach Cleve at 407-352-8118, or you can reach Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger, at 407-250-9144, or go to WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve, we've seen ever since February 27th, the bombing in Iran, gas prices went up, interest rates went up. We were hitting a high fives, 599. It got down to for 3 days. And when I tell people that your strike zone for a refinance is about 1 to 3 days, they don't think that's true. Look at the charts and I'll show you how true it really is.
Yep, you know it.
And here's another thing. A lot of people are just like, they're like, oh my God, interest rates are going up and my payment just went up. It's not going to go up that much from 599 to 6.5.
Yep.
It's not that much of a big deal. But if it does feel like a big deal, then let's look at buying your rate down, getting some more closing costs paid by the seller. Maybe go FHA instead of going conventional, and you can get that interest rate down a little bit lower. There's opportunities.
You know what you're doing. You're in it every day, and it's just amazing when people don't listen on what happens. And I just think this will pass, but when there's a couple days, like rates, this happened back 15 months ago in September.
Happens all the time.
And it dropped down in the high fives, and we saw in a blink it was gone. So definitely trust the Lone Ranger when you're thinking about refining or buying, because right now, if somebody writes a contract today, you think they should float?
Every day is a different day. So what I do is I look at the market with my client on a Zoom call. We look at the market. What's the market doing? What are the trends? What's the news coming out within the Fed that week? Like this week was loaded with a bunch of job reports and S&P report and jolts. So there was all kinds of things that indicate whether you are likely going to go up or down. There's never a guarantee, but I try to give my client an education. Then we look at what rates are doing. I even go on and go, here's what Chase is offering today. Here's what Bank of America is offering today. Here's what Rocket Mortgage is at today. So you can have a fair comparison, because I don't expect that you're just going to believe me. You should believe me, but I don't expect that you do. So I shop it in front of you live on a Zoom call. And I think that's what I guarantee you. If you go to Rocket, they're not going to pull up the Lone Rangers pricing. If you go to your credit union, they're not going to pull up my pricing, cross country's pricing.
Well,
they're not
reading
going
the
to do
next
it.
page in their present. They're reading the next page on their screen about this is what you need to do and this is how you need to do it. But that's why it's important to use experts like us on something like this. I want to talk about the Florida economy and what's happening. Every week, I'm seeing a new article, Bruce, about somebody ditching California or ditching New
Moving
York
here.
and going to Wall Street South, bringing a big company with them with 100, 200, 400 jobs, and that money moving here to Florida because we're so much less expensive than the rest of the country. Our tax structure is better, but we've got our median price is higher than is better than half the rest of the country.
No, it's much better than the rest of the country.
And our economy's better. Our tax structure's lower.
The only problem I'm finding is some of these areas are starting to turn blue because all these libtards are moving down here from California and New York, New Jersey.
Yeah, hopefully
and they're screwing up everything that we've got. They didn't like where they were, so they moved here to make it the same way.
Yep. Well,
don't do that.
I haven't seen that happen too much, but we got to watch.
South Palm Beach just turned blue.
Oh, but it went for the state house. Yeah, it did. But we get so much from our tourism economy and international buyers coming here for vacation properties. It helps support a big chunk of the economy. And that's actually where they're talking about getting some of the revenue to lower our property taxes for your homestead.
That would be nice, but none of that's going to pass.
You haven't seen anything else on that lately?
No. So what happened is it passed the House. It failed the Senate right off the bat. There's no way, no how, not going to happen. So we could have a special session, but the problem is that even a special session isn't going to get us over the finish line until we have a clear understanding of where the money's going to come from. You aren't going to get voters voting for it in November. They just aren't going to do it. There's no path. They don't see where are we going to get this from. I believe that you could have raised the sales tax by 1%. You could have doged all these different municipalities, found the money to come up with, and given the average voter a sense of ease that this is going to work. And you think about that. Even if we dropped our property taxes on homesteaded properties by 50%, you're paying $4,000 or $5,000 a year. You drop to $2,500. That's a heck of a savings. And that's over a long period of time. So that's a massive savings. The problem is no one would vote for it because no one sees the end of the tunnel. They don't know what it's going to look like.
Yep.
So it's going to fail, but we'll come back and take another swing at it. And it's just going to require the government to get their act together and figure out what the solution is.
So I want to ask you, so rates, low sixes, mid sixes,
yep,
depending on where you look at, but people need to call you and get their application in and get that started. I also wanted to ask you about the rates on the DSCRs. I talked to an investor. He just rehabbed a property. We got that up for rent. It's going to get rented. He did a beautiful job. He wants to do another one. And I told him about the DSCR loan. He thought I was speaking Mandarin to him. So explain.
Well, they don't understand it. So a DSCR is for investment transactions only, meaning you cannot live in the house. It also generally requires you to have already owned a house or have rental history experience. So, and the reason for that is you can't buy one of these as owner occupied because it doesn't meet QM guidelines, and you can't homestead a house that you didn't evidence your own income. So a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, means that the only income that I need the client to provide is the income that the appraiser gives us for the rent on the property you're purchasing. So you're purchasing a property for $500,000 and you can get $3,500 a month. As long as that mortgage payment's not more than $3,500 a month, then that's the only income. I don't need your profit and loss. I don't need your balance sheet. I don't need your corporate tax returns. I don't need a letter from your CPA like you do on a conventional loan. I priced one out this week for a gentleman. It was almost the same as a conventional Fannie Mae loan. It was in the low sevens, investment property, low sevens, conventional, was running about the same on a DSCR. And he goes, you mean I don't have to give you my corporate bank's tax returns, my corporate bank statements, a letter from my CPA? Try to get that these days. They won't give it to you.
They're all slammed this week.
They're not giving them to you. So it eliminates a lot of documents.
And then on those rates, now also, if you let there be, like you're buying investment property, this is not for flippers. you're buying it, there's a 3-year prepayment, you get a better rate, right?
You don't have to have a prepayment penalty on it, but the more of a prepayment penalty you put on it, the lower your interest rate gets. So the idea here is for you to get your rate as close to a conventional rate as you can, so you aren't looking at refinancing it down the road.
And then 25 or 30% down, there's a break there, isn't there?
Yes. So you can do a minimum of 20% down, but you start seeing better interest rates at 25 and 30% down. But that's the same on a conventional loan as well. If I price a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac conventional investment property and you put 20% down, your rate is going to be night and day from 25 or 30% down. Yeah. And because Fannie Mae has risk-based pricing.
And the good thing about that too, with 25% down, you're probably going to cash flow, kind of depends on the rent and the market and the house. 30% down, I just about will bet you a steak dinner you'll cash flow.
More than likely.
On that, so.
More than likely. It all depends on the property, and it depends on whether you want to buy down the rate, whether you want a prepayment penalty on it. But the fact of the matter is that I also have products that can be less than a 1-to-1 ratio. I can go 75-to-1. Now, somebody may say, why would I want a lower rent payment than my mortgage payment? Because of appreciation. Yeah. Appreciation can do the job. So these are people that are looking at long term. I just closed on a $3.5 million transaction. The payment was $18,000 a month, and the rent that they could only get was $15,000. So it was well below. So I said to him, why are you doing this? Yeah. He says, do you have any idea of the tax benefits that I have from doing this?
Yeah.
So he was saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes that he can use as a write-off on this and still get rental income from it. Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage. I am the loan arranger. You can reach me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or go to WeBringYouHome.com. Everyone here gets a personal consultation with me. Cleve, Loveland, how do they reach you, my friend?
407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com. Real quick, Bruce, we got 2 minutes. I want to do a couple listings here. I've got 14 acres in Mount Dora for $650. Great price. You could probably put a couple houses on that or build a family compound. It's all high and dry on the edge of the Orange and Lake County line on the edge of Mount Dora. And we've got a pool home. This is the best price pool home. This is what you got to be to sell. Best price pool home in the Palisades. You get a 1/4 acre lot, side entry garage, custom built home for $534,000 with a pool, 2,700 square feet. The owner will do new appliances with that. Just a great property, the best price in that whole neighborhood. Most of the homes in there have no pool, and they're only 2,200 square feet. We're much larger with a pool. And then I've got one in downtown Orlando, South Orlando, Belle Isle, $360,000. 1,800 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Now, the inside was renovated a little while ago. It is definitely livable. Right. It needs a little bit of updating. Got a beautiful Florida room on it, 1-car garage, and got a new roof. $360,000 for that one, 1,800 square feet. 2 of the neighbors just sold $355,000. They were only 1,500 square feet. This is a great price. Something like this. Also, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, $360,000. So call me if you want to take a look at any of those. 407-352-8118.
Yeah, or the loan arranger at 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve and I'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about where the opportunities lie in the market, how you can capture a better deal when buying a home, and what do sellers need to do to get your home on the market so that you can pick up the buyers. We'll be back in 5 minutes.